Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Pinfalls and Playbooks podcast, episode 10, the Big 10. As always, I'm your host, Faiz Kabir, alongside my co-host, Fardan Khan. And this is an exciting week. This is our episode number 10, which we're excited about. We have our sideline heel take, what we're going to talk about later, which coincidentally flows straight with our episode 10. And then now we're going to talk about week 1 just wrapped up. It was a crazy week in the NFL. And last week we started with our wrestling recap, but this week we're going to do it the opposite way like we always do. We're going to start with our sports recap, which is even better because this week we're not really going to touch much on any other sports because nothing really happened that's really noteworthy, but we got to touch on, and first of all, the NFL. So first game on our agenda that we talked about last week were 5 games that we're going to talk about that we think is our favorite game, and it turns out these 5 games were pretty good to pick from. So let's talk about game number 1 that we're starting to start off with first.
So obviously the NFL is the perfect time of the year. And you know it's going to be a great NFL season when the game literally starts out not only with an injury, controversy at the beginning. So the first game of the
Blood rivalry,
which was the Cowboys and the Eagles, known for its historical impact and stuff like that. So it was, whoever was writing the script for this year, they got it right, because having the Cowboys and Eagles start the season, especially the Eagles coming off the Super Bowl win, made perfect sense.
with all the drama going on with the Cowboys too.
Mike Parsons obviously got traded to the Packers, and there was a lot of questions about what the team was going to do. But let's just dive right into it and talk about the so-called elephant in the room. The game started out in controversy in the sense that there was a confrontation between Jalen Carter and Dak Prescott. What we didn't see at first, which was Dak Prescott, he went up to Jalen Carter and spit at him first.
See, that's the thing, no one really knows because Dak does, if you actually look at Dak, he does spit a lot.
He does, yeah. Quarterbacks spit anyway.
Yeah.
Keep your mind about it.
Right.
But as we clearly see, Jalen Carter retaliates. He spits, and the referee clearly sees it, and they call an unsportsmanlike penalty, unsportsmanlike conduct on him, which ultimately disqualifies him. So he got onto the field for a solid 10 seconds, and then basically he got penalized.
Mind you, they're probably the Eagles' best defensive player.
Exactly, and that kind of changed the course of the game because the Dallas Cowboys, they actually played pretty well.
They played pretty good.
The passing game was pretty good. The running game was really good. Javonte Williams had 2 touchdowns. The first half for the Cowboys looked like they were perennial contenders.
They look like that every year in the beginning.
That's true, yeah. Dak Prescott looked great. The offensive system under Brian Schottenheimer looked pretty good.
Yeah.
A lot of motion, a lot of movement, obviously CeeDee Lamb had a big first half, but ultimately the Eagles, as we know, they're going to rely heavily on the running attack.
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley did his job. He had a touchdown. I believe he had around 80 yards.
Yep.
Or so. Jalen Hurts, he kind of heard probably all the doubters, including myself, about all the talk about him not being a top 5, top 10 quarterback in the league.
Insane.
But he showed out. He had 2 rushing touchdowns. He played pretty, I guess.
Eagles did what they usually do. They play their ball.
That's the thing about the Eagles is they're not going to beat you in a high-powered passing attack.
Right.
They'll beat you in every other aspect of things, play action, read option, screens. But the one thing that they didn't do was get A.J. Brown the ball.
Yeah.
That guy had only had maybe, 2 catches?
And this is the story that's with the Eagles every year.
It always starts out like that.
A.J. Brown,
1,000 yards.
And the thing is, that's funny because A.J. Brown always starts off the year because we all know, A.J. Brown is a very tempered person where he's like, oh, I don't know if this is going to work for me. I don't know what you guys are doing. We got to figure something out.
He always wants the ball.
Which is fine.
He definitely deserves it. He has the capabilities to take it to the house, go deep, short routes, whatever, But as the second half progressed, there was a delay because of lightning storm
in the area.
That delayed the game about an hour and a half, and then after the game commenced, the Cowboys seemed to forget how to play football as they, normally would in the second half. And they tried to get CeeDee Lamb open, and he was open. Dak Prescott,
that's the thing,
great passes, and he dropped the ball.
Yeah, and the thing is, CeeDee Lamb barely ever drops the ball. He only had 3-4 drops last year. He had 3 tonight in week 1. You got to blame it on week 1 jitters or something like that. But CeeDee Lamb, he's honestly too good to even talk about jitters like that. But
he'll
honestly, if CeeDee Lamb caught those balls, he probably would have had 200 receiving yards the first night, which is insane because CeeDee Lamb is just he's a top 3 receiver in the NFL, no question in my mind. It just shows it again because now you have George Pickens, who you saw Dak was trying to take a lot of deep balls to George Pickens and get him involved. And that's the benefit you have of another perennial receiver like that. He's going to take up coverage when it comes to those deep balls, and CeeDee's going to do what he does best in the slot route and getting those little beautiful routes that he runs always open. But overall, in my opinion, I do think it was a good performance for both teams. Yeah. It showed out that both teams tried to make it look good, where the Eagles are going to continue to do their game plan like they always do.
And this new offensive scheme from the Cowboys.
And the new offensive scheme
it looked good, but in the second half, ultimately, the Eagles pulled away into a field goal.
Yeah. And Dak played good, too.
He played really good, too. So he definitely, I guess, gave himself that confidence boost moving forward to, I guess, elevate.
Yeah.
Understand what happened. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb, with his mistakes, he can obviously recuperate. We'll see how it goes. But the Eagles did win the game. I believe it was 24-20.
Yeah.
I think the Cowboys play... who do they play next? I forgot.
I'm not sure, but we'll find out.
Yeah.
But the next game I want to talk about is the Chargers and the Chiefs game. This was another big anticipated game for me because I'm one of those people that were starting to lean on the doubters of Justin Herbert. And this game right here showed exactly why people believe Justin Herbert can be that top-level quarterback.
He has the skill set. He has the QB mindset. He has the body. He has everything a prototypical quarterback needs.
And this was the game to show it out on the week one.
For sure.
So the Chargers came out firing. They looked really good. We actually saw remnants of Quentin Johnson starting to look alive again.
Keenan Allen looked like old
Keenan Allen. Especially want to talk about the Chiefs. The Chiefs looked very, very confused with the defensive schemes that the Chargers were throwing at them, and also it's just their offense. Something looked off. It could be due to the lack of running back, the lack of Rashee Rice, and you have to have people
Xavier Worthy got hurt.
Xavier Worthy got hurt. Exactly. So it's just. The Chiefs are always like this every year where they're messed up by the weapons because it's either injury or they just don't have. And it was more apparent than ever in this week one because as you look at the AFC, it's getting tougher and tougher. And we'll talk about later in our last game how hard it's going to be for the NFL teams to even try to compete this year, in my opinion. But the Chiefs, they really needed to come out and show exactly why they feel like they could still be a contender. And at the end of the day, it is Patrick Mahomes and it is week one. And they have to get over that. But a lot of people are talking about how this might be Travis Kelce last year. This might be Patrick Mahomes. He's winding down even. Who knows? But, the thing is with this team...
crazy to say.
It's crazy to say, but the thing is with this team, they need to continue to show off why they can be a contender. But the Chargers, they came out with Jim Harbaugh looking like they're ready to take that mantle and probably join that.
Step too.
And it looks good. Their running game was whatever. I don't think there was anything really...
He'll get better. Najee Harris is a little banged up, but he'll come back stronger. And obviously, Omarion Hampton, he looked pretty good
for his few snaps that he got. So overall, in my opinion, this was a great win for the Chargers. They're going to be looking to continue this momentum. They have to, in my opinion, because I think their schedule is pretty light compared to all these other teams. Where
also, if you think about it, if the Chiefs continue to look like this, that division's up for grabs.
Yeah, it's up for grabs. I think that overall, in my opinion, it was a great win for the Chargers. It's crazy to say this, but as a week one, it's got to be a wake-up call for the Chiefs because the Chiefs, they know that the division's getting better and they know that their guys are getting older.
Yep.
They need to somehow stay relevant, whether it's somehow getting a really big draft or not draft, but trade for a receiver or something.
Perhaps Tyreek Hill.
They need, who knows? But the thing is, it's going to be more apparent than ever this season that they're going to need a perennial receiver to help Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce out this year. And it was more than evident this week one. Yep. All right, let's talk about the next game.
All right. It was a fun game, to say the least.
Who would have thought that was the second best
game of the week?
The second highest scoring game too.
The game that we're talking about is the Steelers and the Jets. Now, myself included, I'm sure other people would probably say the same thing. We thought this was going to be a very low-scoring, defensive-minded game, but God damn, that was a fun game. Jets ultimately, I wouldn't say they shit themselves as they previously used to. Obviously, we know the same sentiment of the same old Jets, but they played really well. Everybody was talking about, Justin Fields, he can't throw. He doesn't really have the pocket presence.
Right.
The Jets' offense is just going to look very stagnant and stuff like that. While it had its moments for sure, as most offenses would, the Jets, they showed out. They ran the ball really well.
I think overall they impressed more people than they ever
thought. Yeah, for sure. They ran the ball really well. Breece Hall had over 100 yards.
He looked good, man.
He looked really good. Garrett Wilson looked like Garrett Wilson. He had almost 100 yards in the touchdown. Justin Fields ran the ball really well. He got out of the pocket really well. God forbid Zach Wilson tried to do what Justin Fields did. I will always believe that Woody Johnson made a mistake by going after Zach Wilson instead of Justin Fields in the beginning.
That's my take.
But
Is
that's obviously
that's something else.
that's 4 years ago, and obviously past is the past.
Yeah.
But looking at the present, it was really fun to watch the game.
Let me talk about the other side. Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers came out looking like he had a vendetta.
He looked like
he was pissed off at the Jets organization and just the media in general, where he was slinging that ball.
He played really good.
He played like the Rodgers that people thought the Jets were going to get. But Aaron Rodgers, for some reason, and the thing is, I always felt like this. People always talked about it. Like he always wanted to play with Mike Tomlin, and Mike Tomlin's a player's coach. So I feel like having Rodgers with someone that he knows for sure a coach is going to have his back no matter what. I feel like he didn't have that with Saleh for 100%. He didn't feel like that the locker room had his back. With this team, he knows that the locker room has his back.
Yeah.
And that's why he came out and showed out. And people were talking about, the Steelers got no receivers or nothing. At the end of the day, it's Aaron Rodgers who is one of the greatest of all time, and he will make the receivers.
He will. It's also what Arthur Smith believes in an offense.
Exactly.
A lot of play action, a lot of moving parts, a lot of short intermediate routes. And obviously Aaron Rodgers excels at that. And he ultimately played really well. Like the Jets secondary looked lost, in my opinion. Outside of Sauce Gardner, the whole secondary was like, what's going on over here?
Yeah.
And the one thing that the Jets always had a problem stemming from the last couple of years was missed tackles.
Yeah.
They poorly tackled. DK Metcalf had like so many opportunities to break away.
Yeah, he broke away.
Coverage. Yeah. Ultimately, Chris Boswell turned into fucking prime Adam Vinatieri or Justin Tucker before he was a rapist. He kicked a 60-yard field goal. At the end of the game, Justin Fields had a chance. He threw the ball to Garrett Wilson, but Jalen Ramsey.
Oh my God! Let's talk about my guy, Jalen Ramsey.
Laid the pipe on Garrett Wilson.
I always loved Jalen Ramsey. No matter where he went, I loved him. I loved him in Jacksonville. I loved the energy he brought to the teams. I love his swagger. Everything about Jalen Ramsey. During the game, the Jets and Jalen Ramsey, they were talking a lot of shit. Obviously, I know 100% what the talks are.
He was getting cooked though, up until.
And I'll tell you why. Jalen Ramsey, he's not the old Jalen Ramsey. Yeah. He's not. And I guarantee you that these young Jet receivers were like, dude, you're old as shit. Who are you going to guard? No. And the thing is, with people like Jalen Ramsey, that turns them up. No. That turns them to the next gear, and it made it more than ever evident at the end where Jalen Ramsey literally pummeled Garrett Wilson to the ground. Garrett Wilson was slow to get up from that too. And at that point, Jalen Ramsey put his stamp on that game where he felt like he is the leader of that defense. Even though TJ Watt is their best player, I automatically feel like Jalen Ramsey is that leader of that defense that's going to rally them. And it's going to be very interesting because the Steelers, they look very good. The Jets, they look way better than everyone thought.
The defense needs to be a lot better because there's no way.
100%.
Obviously, I'm not going to discredit the Jets' offense. They look really good.
Yeah.
And I have not said that in years. So the fact that they made the Steelers defense look like that was promising and looking forward to it moving forward. But they need to play better because if the Steelers defense shows up and if Aaron Rodgers can be Aaron Rodgers, they can possibly make the play. Well,
make a wild card.
I don't know about winning the division yet.
Yeah.
We got to see how they do against the Bengals and obviously against the Ravens. But the wild card, it's up in the air. As far as the Jets goes, listen, they have the Buffalo Bills next week. They're not going to play like that against the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, we hope that they will. But at the end of the day, the defense just needs to be better. If the defense plays better and the rushing game, which it should be fine because Buffalo's rushing defense isn't really that great.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they'll win the game, but I hope they can keep it close because when we get to it later, the Bills... they look really good. So,
all right.
Moving on to the next game.
All right, so let's talk about the Patriots game. So, as a Patriots fans coming into the season, we were very excited to see exactly what we think is going to happen with Drake May and our new offense. Beginning of the game, it looked very promising. Drake May was running plays, and it looked like the old Tom Brady plays, where obviously Josh McDaniels is running that team again. The thing that kind of screwed us is our defense. What clearly screwed us was these deep balls and passing over the routes, and that was clearly due to our best defensive player not being present, Christian Gonzalez, who's still dealing with his injury. I think he will be back next game, so that should be turning things around. But overall, I want to talk about the Raiders. The Raiders, they have their solid quarterback in Geno Smith. It's great to see Geno Smith finally solidify himself as a mid-tier quarterback. He was always viewed as a joke, especially when he was with the Jets. People kind of written him out. But slowly but surely, he had a career where He's turning things around. And with the Raiders leading with Pete Carroll, obviously who's the oldest coach now in the NFL, Pete Carroll's he has that tenure for a reason, and he sees people like where he has talent like Jacoby Myers, Ashton
Jetti looks really good. If they can get him going, Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers play like themselves, I think they could be a good offense.
Brock Bowers looked really good in the beginning of the game, and then he's kind of like went quiet at the end. But one thing that kind of alarmed me as a Patriots fan was Drake May looked a little frazzled.
Yeah.
And we understood that. Patriots fans understood that last year too, where if you're rushing him, he's kind of like, he doesn't know what to do with the ball. Sometimes he doesn't throw it out, which kind of irks me, and he kind of force throws, and that's why it led to an early pick in the game. Drake May also, he's also known for his legs. He didn't really use it as much because it just seemed like he was a little intimidated by that defense.
Yeah.
And I get it, but like, this
Max Crosby on the other
side. It's Max Crosby, who's obviously, he just guns for quarterbacks. I think the Patriots just honestly need to calm down, get into their schemes. Drake May was delivering the balls to like our receivers, which was good, to Mario Douglas, to Kayshon Boutte, who was looking really good too. And I was excited to see that he was incorporating all these new weapons. But at the end of the day, we need to get our running game established because the Patriots always need to start with that running game, which allows us to do play-action plays, which allows us to be healthy in offense.
They need to get Trayvon Henderson the ball.
Trayvon Henderson definitely needs to get the ball a lot more. I think running that duel with Ramondre Stevenson.
With the power back and the shifty back.
Exactly, but I think Trayvon Henderson needs to get the more reps, in my opinion, because the more reps he gets, the more he can get used to the NFL field and the defensive schemes. But overall, in my opinion, I think the Patriots definitely lack what people thought was going to be at the beginning of the season, but it's definitely not what I think is going to be at the end of the day. It's week 1. Can't throw it out the bag yet, but it's got to be something where we got to see a change in next week, where the defense needs to actually step up with all the players that we paid this season and brought in, and we'll see it with Christian Gonzalez back, leading that defense. And let's talk about the next game. I'll let you talk about the next game.
Next game we're going to talk about is the Packers and the Lions. We thought this was going to be a great game, and I guess, when you're the Detroit Lions and you lose arguably the best offensive coordinator and one of the best defensive coordinators.
Different team.
Two different teams for head coaching positions. It's good. The whole outlook of the team changes.
Yeah.
And we saw that against the Packers on Sunday. Like,
Packers look good, man.
Packers look good, but the Lions, I think they're going to be frauds this year. I'm not sure how to feel about them. I mentioned in my previous sideline heel take that Jared Goff is very overrated in my opinion.
And we'll see it.
And we kind of saw it on Sunday. Micah Parsons showed out. He had one big sack.
In limited snaps.
And if you put him on the field consistently,
that
Packers defense, as good as they lost Jair Alexander, which is fine. But
their corner stepped up.
Yeah, Matt LaFleur's still a great coach. The offense, on the other hand, they look really good too.
Yeah.
Jordan Love spread out the ball. He gave the love to everybody. Josh Jacobs is obviously Josh Jacobs, and he looked really good too.
Yep.
The Lions, I don't know. I feel like their Super Bowl window is closing. Granted, they didn't make the Super Bowl yet.
Yeah.
But they still have the offensive firepower. They still have the offensive line. Obviously, I don't want to get ahead of myself because it is week 1. But the signs are there, and they need to fix it. And
the Packers, they win every year. They have good records every year.
Yeah.
It's just delivering in those playoffs. And this might be the year where a lot of people do blame that their defense doesn't step up at the end of the games. But now having probably the best linebacker,
he's a closer. Yeah.
Yeah, you have Micah Parsons who can get you what he needs to get you. It's going to be exciting to see what the Packers do. Their rookie wide receiver Matthew Golden,
he looked pretty good.
He didn't get enough touches though, but he looked really good. You just got Jordan Love, who honestly, I like watching him play because he looks very good as a quarterback. The way he throws the ball, the way he spreads the ball.
It's very Rodgers and Favre-esque.
Yeah, and it's funny how the Packers always get dealt with quarterbacks like that, where it's just
smooth,
solid quarterbacks. I think Jordan Love is going to be fitting into that role eventually, where he can possibly even win and even do better with this team. But that was the Packers and the Lions game. And let's talk about the game of the week, which was
possibly even the game of the year.
Already probably even the game of the year.
Yeah.
So what we're talking about right now is the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills. This game, easiest way to say, was insane.
Yeah. The game started out like as if it was going to be like the Ravens-Bills game from the regular season last year, where the Ravens dominated. Derrick Henry rushed over almost 200 yards,
Yeah.
2 touchdowns. And it looked like it was going the same way. Derrick Henry rushed for like 2 40-yard touchdowns. Lamar Jackson was looking like Lamar Jackson of old, of current, The Buffalo Bills, they scored points in the beginning of the game, but then the offense just kind of went a little stale.
The Baltimore's defense stood up,
and the Buffalo they actually improved.
Yeah,
they
looked good.
Questioned last year, and they or so we thought. In the second half, something clicked for the Buffalo Bills.
Oh yeah,
and ultimately they started scoring. They moved the ball around. Keon Coleman, what I thought was going to be the Rookie of the Year last year, looked really good this year.
He looked good this year because
this game, right?
This game because Josh Allen was getting the ball.
Yeah,
and that was one of the critiques that the Buffalo Bills fans had last year was they felt like Keon Coleman has that power to be a good receiver. It's just Allen wasn't getting the ball, or he just wasn't creating separation enough.
No.
And it showed it yesterday where Keon Coleman was creating that separation. It also helps when you have the back of James Cook, who's also an elite running back in my opinion too. But the Buffalo Bills, what they did what they always do. They chip away at the leads, especially when they're behind. For some reason, Josh Allen is one of these quarterbacks where he loves playing from behind. When you play from behind and you're used to it like that for so much, as a fan, you automatically know that you can't count out the Bills.
Right.
The Buffalo Bills had a huge play at the end of the game where they kind of swing the momentum was that fumble by Derrick Henry. People talked about this last year too, where Derrick Henry did have a few fumbles where it was like, oh shit, like this is kind of like momentum swings. Because you don't expect Derrick Henry to really fumble that ball.
Any fumble at the end of the game within like the first or last 7 minutes of the game, always a momentum shift.
Always a momentum shift. And Josh Allen did what he does best, capitalized, scored very quickly in efficient fashion.
Yeah, they scored 16 points in the fourth quarter.
Dude,
no, 22 points, I think.
They were insane.
Yeah.
And people were like, oh man, they think this game probably is going to go to overtime. But Josh Allen did not let that happen. We ended up getting Matt Prater, who just signed on to the team like last week. They brought him on.
Field goal.
We had people talking about it in press conferences where the players thought these were another coach that they were just bringing in. They were like, who the hell is this coach? And they were like, oh, that's Matt Prater.
Yeah.
Matt Prater just came on.
He still got that leg. That big leg in Denver. But when you're in Buffalo, it's obviously going to be not as potent a kick.
Yeah.
But he still has it.
But
still got it.
What was the score? 41-40.
41-40.
And
game-winning field goal basically ended.
Which is crazy because like these are the two teams that people do believe are going to be coming out of the Super Bowl in the AFC. They're going to the Super Bowl.
I still think it's probably going to happen, to be honest. Barring some miracle from any other team.
This could be an AFC Championship game.
Perhaps the Cincinnati Bengals, maybe the Chiefs again, which I don't want anymore. But as of right now, this is going to be the AFC Championship.
And we had a preview on week 1.
Yeah.
So this is no...
We'll talk in late January.
Exactly. But overall, great game to see Josh Allen solidifying why he thought, hey, man, I deserve that MVP. And he came out, and a lot of people shut up after that game was over. That they were like, oh, Lamar deserves it. Obviously, Lamar does deserve it because of his stats. But at the end of the game, it kind of made you feel like, again, who would you rather have towards the end of the game, Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson? And Josh Allen continues to prove why.
Honestly, the thing is, for Lamar, he's always put in that position, and he does great. It's just his team who lets him down.
But guess what? You got to still, at the end of the day, that you're the one that's delivering that ball. And for some reason, why you can't always blame it on the other team because Josh Allen is also the one that's held in that same position too. What if his players drop that ball? But his players don't drop the ball for him.
But that's exactly why that controversy arises, is because Lamar Jackson's always discredited for that because of his team's failure. Like, for example, like last season, week 1, it was Isaiah Likely's toe was on the white line at the beginning of the season when they were versing the Chiefs. And obviously last year, as we all know, Mark Andrews dropped a wide open ball in the end zone, and it was a perfect ball too.
Right.
No like spiral, like it was a perfect spiral, and he just dropped it at the end. Like.
But also, what I realized with Josh Allen too is he takes over the game himself as well.
Yeah.
Lamar. It's funny because like Lamar at the ends of games, he loves throwing the ball.
The only thing that Josh Allen does, I don't want to say better, is when it comes to creating plays in crunch time.
Yeah.
He'll do it better. Lamar Jackson, I feel like his only fatal flaw is he tries to force the ball too much.
And then we see that sometimes where he tries to take off for runs and then he doesn't know what to do and he turns around and he just drops back down.
Yeah.
The difference with Josh Allen is he's 260.
Yeah.
Linebackers jump off of him
when he
literally puts his head down.
It's hard to take him down. He's basically
I always told you this.
He's basically Big Ben on wheels.
I always told you this. I told you this is 2.0 Big Ben. I told you this years ago.
Yeah.
I told you this before he was having these MVP years. I'm like, that is Big Ben 2.0. That is what people thought Big Ben was gonna be.
Yeah. He's just faster and more agile.
Exactly, and throws the ball better even too. But that was the wrap up for week 1.
Crazy week.
Crazy week.
There's a lot of other games that
Yeah, a lot of games that we talk about.
Bengals finally won a week 1 game in fucking forever.
But they did not look good.
They did not look good at all. They need to step it up. Joe Burrow had 115 yards.
Jamar Chase was absolutely
he had 2 yards basically.
So it's we'll see it. Week 1 jitters, the teams got to get it out of the way.
No.
And we saw it apparent throughout the entire NFL.
No.
But now let's get into week 2, what we think is going to be obviously the best 5 matches that we're going to be looking forward to. First is going to be on Thursday night, which is the Commanders and Packers.
They finally have a good Thursday night game to start off the season.
Exactly.
They haven't had that in years.
So obviously Packers are coming off their win, and Commanders are coming off their people thought they were going to win against the Giants. The Giants are looking very dysfunctional as always.
Yeah.
Malik Neighbors trade might be coming soon, or he just might rough it out, and hopefully they put Jackson Dart in very soon. I think Jackson Dart might even play week 3, in my opinion.
I don't know.
But
we'll see how it goes. We might even see him next game. We don't know.
Exactly. But we got the Commanders and Packers. Very 2 interesting teams. I think the Commanders definitely need to involve their players a lot more. Jaden Daniels looked okay. I think he could definitely be better. But in my opinion, I think it's going to be the Packers taking this W. I think the Packers are going to win this 24-17, in my opinion.
24-17. I think the Packers win this. I'm going to say 27-17.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Michael Parsons closes the deal. I think he plays a little bit more. Granted, it's a short week, but Packers look pretty good, so we'll see how it goes. Right. Next game on the docket is the Jets and the Bills. This game's at MetLife. Now, the fan in me is going to say, obviously, I want the Jets to win. But realistically, I'm going to look at it in an unbiased way and a biased way. The biased way is if the Jets' offense looked like how they did against the Steelers, and if the defense can, I don't want to say contain Josh Allen, because realistically you can't really contain him.
Right.
If they can control the pace on the offensive side, make tackles, there's got to be another word than.
But the thing is, historically, Josh Allen has his way with the Jets.
Yeah.
He does whatever he wants.
And that's not true though. Because he's always looked very shaky.
Okay, but when he runs the ball, nobody stops him.
Exactly, but that's the thing.
That's what he does against the Jets. He runs the ball.
If they can control the pace on the offense, I feel like they could win, but I think I'm going to roll with the Bills. I think they're going to win 30-20.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I'm going to go with the Bills too. I think they're going to win 27-14. I think I do not think the Jets can replicate that offense again, in my opinion. We're going to find out week 2 if it's a fluke or not. With the way that their offense plays. But the Bills, I think, obviously going to take this game. Next, we got the Patriots and Dolphins. This one's going to be very interesting, in my opinion.
The Dolphins look like booty butt cheeks.
This is where I think it's going to be very interesting. We have a lot of off-field issues with Tyreek Hill going on right now with the Dolphins. We don't know what's going on with the Dolphins. I think that this is going to be a game where it's going to decide Mike McDaniel's future and Tua Tagovailoa's future. The Miami Dolphins looked absolutely piss poor against the Indianapolis Colts.
Butt cheeks.
Daniel Jones, was looking like an all-star.
He looked like Peyton Manning out there.
Dude, he looked very good out there. And if you're a team that's playing Daniel Jones and you make him look good, something's wrong. Something is very wrong. But I think this needs to be a major win for the Patriots to come off of this.
It's a must-win for both teams.
It's a must-win. It's weird. It's a must-win for both teams, in my opinion, in week 2.
Yeah.
Because the Patriots need to continue to establish that this season can be something where it could look promising. And the Dolphins, honestly, if they need to win this game for job security in both positions, the quarterback and the head coach.
I agree.
We're going to see, in my opinion, I do think the Patriots come out, win this game. It's a must-win for them. And I do think the Patriots win this game to 17-10.
That's it?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a 17-10 game because, one, the Patriots are not really flashy in offense like that. We don't score points like that. We're going to try to win our game with defense, with Christian Gonzalez back, holding and locking down whoever plays, if Tyreek does play or not. But if Tyreek doesn't play, then it's just Jalen Waddle. And I'm not afraid of just only Jalen Waddle, in my opinion. That's why I do think it's all dependent on – my score is all dependent on Tyreek Hill plays. Tyreek Hill doesn't play, I think it's a 17-10 game. But if Tyreek does play, I think it could be a 24-8 to 24-17 game as well.
I think it's going to be Patriots 23-20. I think they win on a game-winning field goal.
A game-winning field goal. Our kicker did not look good. Our rookie kicker did not look good. He had a missed field goal, which was not exciting to see. But he did make his way back and hit 2 field goals at the end. But let's just see how that game goes. And then the next game we have is the Bucks and Texans.
Yeah, so this is gonna be a Monday night game. There's actually a doubleheader this week.
Yep.
Bucks and Texans at 7, and then I think the Chargers and the Raiders at 10. I don't think a lot of people are gonna watch the Chargers Raiders games at 10 o'clock in the East Coast. Obviously, people on the West Coast, they're gonna be able to watch. The Bucks, they actually came off a really close win against the Falcons. They won on a game-winning. No, they threw a game-winning touchdown to Emiko Buga.
Looked very good.
Texans, on the other hand, they look very stale on the offensive end.
It looked just like how they ended the year last year.
Yeah.
And the thing is, this is where the C.J. Stroud criticism comes in. He's the type of quarterback that can make that offense look dynamic. It just doesn't look like it.
No, I don't know.
Nico Collins
looked
very.
Tank Dell yet. Joe Mixon's not in the offense anymore.
Yeah.
They just looked abysmal, to be honest.
Yeah.
And it's kind of shameful because C.J. Stroud, he's a good quarterback. He has the potential, and they made the playoffs I think the last 2 years.
Yeah.
But they started off the season really slow against the Rams. They only scored 9 points.
No.
In my opinion, I think the Bucks win this game. I think it's gonna be a high-scoring game. I think it's gonna be 30-24 Bucks.
That's not. Yeah, I also agree. It's gonna be a high-scoring game. I think it's gonna be a shootout. And when you get into a shootout with the Bucks and Baker Mayfield, I'm picking Baker Mayfield to win those shootouts. Something about him. He just pulls these wins out, stuff like that. So I think the Bucks are going to win this game. I think it's going to be 35-32. It's going to be a big scoring game. It's going to be very close. It's going to come down to a lot of field goals. What's his name? I think Kaimi Fairburn. He had a lot of field goals last game, and he's going to continue to do that. He's one of the best kickers in the NFL. He doesn't get really talked about enough, but I think he's going to be a huge talking point for the next game. But overall, I do think the Bucks come out and win this game. Last game we're going to talk about is the Eagles and Chiefs.
Super Bowl rematch from last year. So obviously the Chiefs just came off a really bad loss.
And they still have that bad taste in their mouth for getting embarrassed in the Super Bowl.
That was really like a lot of people say they're going to three-peat. Nope, they got spanked last season.
In my opinion, this game, I think it's a must-win for the Chiefs.
If they start off 0-2, the amount of media that's going to be up their ass is going to be really fun for most people, but sad for them. And I ultimately think at the end of the day, they are going to go 0-2. I think the Eagles win this. I think Saquon Barkley just goes off. The defense, I think we saw it from last game, how I mentioned last week's episode, that the Eagles defense, they're not going to be as good as last season. So hopefully the Chiefs can at least capitalize on that.
Yeah.
But because of the Eagles and how dynamic they can be, I think ultimately they win this game. I think they're going to win this. I'm going to say they're going to win this 27-19.
Okay. I'm actually going to go the opposite. I'm going to pick the Chiefs this game.
Really?
I think the Chiefs are going to come out winning this game. I think somehow Patrick Mahomes needs to avenge his performance in the Super Bowl. He is the type of player that can do that stuff.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce needs to get open, and the thing is, I think with the linebacker crew and the safety crews on the Eagles, it's make or break with them for this game. Travis Kelce needs to somehow find his way through the seams and get open so Patrick Mahomes can deliver that ball. In my opinion, it's gonna be a 1-2 game. It's Patrick and Travis. They gotta somehow pull this game over, and I think that Patrick's and Travis's greatness do come through this game. I think the Chiefs win this game, in my opinion, 28-21.
Wow.
So it's gotta, and also I think it also depends on the Chiefs' defense. Chris Jones making an impact. Chris Jones is still one of the best players, defensive tackles in the NFL. He's got to show it.
If not the best one. Yeah.
If not the best, no, maybe Dexter Lawrence is really good. But he's just not shown because he's on that Giants team. But Chris Jones, he needs to make an impact, and he needs to do what he does best and get to the quarterback. And stop Saquon. That's the only way you're going to beat the Eagles is you need to stop Saquon.
The passing game is not going to be there, so
it's not.
Yeah.
So
makes sense.
That's the way I think it wraps up, and I think that is our wrap up for week 2 of the NFL and our
week 1.
Our week 2, and we're gonna be looking forward to all the week 2 games. And as always, we're gonna recap it next week. But that is our sports recap for this week. As we said before, prior to starting, there's not a lot of things else going on in sports. Quickly, I want to mention Carlos Alcaraz.
He won the U.S. Open.
He won the U.S. Open. It's looking like Carlos has the edge over Yannick Sinner. It looks like Sinner can beat everybody but Alcaraz. And it sucks when you run into like those people like that. And it's funny because I do see a lot of analysts talk about that. Alcaraz can be beaten by others. People have seen it. But Yannick only loses to Alcaraz. We're gonna see them obviously.
It's gonna be a continuous battle for
right,
years.
and I think this is the end. This is the end.
Yeah.
We're not there's no more Grand Slams until next year.
Australian
Open. So obviously people are gonna looking forward to that. And Carlos Alcaraz ends this tennis year by being on top like he was last year. But that wraps up our sports recap for this week. We're gonna also look forward to we're gonna be talking about baseball next week because we're getting into the gritty games next week for baseball, especially for the Yankees and Padres. So we'll look forward to that as the games are getting more important. If any NBA news comes up, we'll also touch on that. But right now, it's looking like a straight shot for the NFL, which is the best time of the year in our opinion.
Yep.
All right, guys. Now it's time for our wrestling recap this week. As always, we have our SmackDown and Raw recap, and we're just pretty much head on towards to WrestlePalooza.
Yep.
So let's start off with our SmackDown recap. We had John Cena come out to thank the crowd, the Chicago crowd. It's very significant for him as it's where he made his debut, where he had his big matches with Punk, and just overall it's just very sentimental to him. So he wanted to come out and talk about it. And then fast forward, we had Sami Zayn come out, which was a very interesting surprise. I don't think a lot of people did not expect that.
Yeah.
To Sami Zayn to be part of his final opponents, but it was a little callback to Sami Zayn also debuting against John Cena on the main roster when he did the US Open title match. So Sami Zayn, it looks like he's going to be taking on that mantle where he's going to be doing the US title Open every week or maybe every other week, which is good. I always thought that when John Cena did it, it brought out a lot of stars and a lot of people to the face. Like it had people like Sami Zayn, Neville, Kevin Owens. A lot of people got a lot of shine against John Cena. So I think it's going to be great for Sami to do it as well. There'll be an impromptu match where Sami challenged John Cena. This match, crazy. We had a lot of...
It was really long.
Very long.
But I guess the good thing about it was we saw John Cena showing how versatile he still was and still is.
Exactly.
He pulled out finishers from from previous
opponents,
We saw him do the Edge, what did Edge do?
Like he just get ready. Like, come on, I'm going to hit you with a spear.
He hit the Papa Powerbomb from Kevin Owens. He hit the GTS in
Chicago.
CM Punk's hometown, Chicago. What else did he do? He did the clothesline from hell from JBL.
We had Sami Zayn even deliver an attitude adjustment to him.
Yeah, it was crazy. Bro, he hit, I think, 5 AAs and Sami Zayn kicked out.
The only thing that kind of makes this all look goofy is that John Cena's using all his power moves and everybody's kicking out.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that's kind of making it look goofy. But the thing is, it's John Cena. As fans, we're gonna let it slide because we just want to appreciate what we have left in him. One thing that kind of brought down this match is obviously we can't control his commercials, and that's the only reason. But I think this match would have been received way better if there was no commercials. But towards the end of the match, we had John Cena hit a massive AA off the top rope. We're like, oh shoot, like this got to be it. But it led to Brock Lesnar coming back, and we all knew this was gonna happen, where Brock Lesnar is gonna come back and issue that match against John Cena at WrestlePalooza. And that's ultimately what it was. It was Brock Lesnar coming out and delivering an F5. And then backstage in Gorilla, he just says, I'll see you at WrestlePalooza, bitch.
He has like a weird voice.
Oh, he's always hilarious when you listen to his voice cracks or anything like that. But that's pretty much the main thing I really want to talk about on this show. And then we obviously had what people were already suspecting towards the end of the show, and we'll get into that. So we're gonna lead right into our Raw review. So the Raw review, we had the Usos come out and basically do their shtick where they do this promos. I'll tell you one thing: it is great to see the Usos back together on the mic because
fun.
It's much easier to listen to these guys together instead of separately. Because Jey Uso, he's always just huffing and puffing and saying nothing but yeet. But like I think you were telling me also like. It was always apparent that Jimmy was the better promo, and it made it more evident again today, on Monday. In my opinion, that it's just Usos. It's always a great time to see them again, and ultimately it led to the Braun Brawns coming out, and you know what that's setting up. It's just going to be a WrestlePalooza match.
The WrestlePalooza card is stacked.
It's going to be stacked. It has to be stacked. It's their first ESPN show, so they're going to stack it up. So we have the Usos reunion versus the Braun Brawns, which is exciting to see. Next, you could talk about the AJ Styles match.
Yeah, so he had a match against El Grande Americano. If most of you remember from last week, AJ Styles had a match against Dominic Mysterio for the IC title match.
Yeah.
While AJ Styles didn't look good against Dominic Mysterio because he was getting dominated the whole match. He was about to go for a phenomenal forearm. El Grande somehow came out. He took his foot out from the rope and he hit him with the pallet on the inside the mask and ultimately cost AJ the match. So this week they made it official. They were going to have a one-on-one match, and I believe Dominic Mysterio got involved.
Yeah, he was like,
no. The other El Grande came
the
out,
other El
which
Grandes
is
were out.
presumably Chad Gable. We don't know yet, obviously. That ultimately led Dragon Lee to come out to help AJ Styles, which costed El Grande Americano, the one that AJ Styles was fighting in the match. AJ Styles picked up the victory.
Yeah, I think ultimately that's going to still go back to, I think they're going to have a match again at WrestlePalooza. It's either then or now. It's got to be where AJ wins that title. It's got to happen at WrestlePalooza because I don't see any other title changing hand at WrestlePalooza. I think this is the one that's going to do it.
Yeah.
So I think AJ, because of how the longevity of how they continue this feud.
Is there a title match confirmed for that?
Not yet, but it will be, in my opinion. Because I'll tell you why. Because I think Dominic Mysterio has another match coming up on Friday he's going to be doing the AAA match again.
Right, okay.
And I know for a fact AJ's going to interfere that again. So that's going to ultimately lead these two getting another final match where they got to just fight each other, and then at the end they call it. But next we had probably Jimmy and Jay, where they were kind of giving a little bit different character to Jay, where he was tired of saving LA Knight because of all the shenanigans that they've been having back and forth. And it's just Jay basically telling him, like, I'm here to look out for you and me. Jimmy hit him with the line that he was like, you're starting to sound like Roman.
Yeah.
But Jimmy's starting to believe, Jay's starting to believe like he's got to do this stuff for them and tired of like helping out his friends. And Roman kind of implemented that into his mind a few weeks ago with telling him you got to look out for yourself.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like it's heading towards.
He just wants his world title back, basically.
Yeah. And then we had a backstage segment with Io and Asuka where they're continuing this feud, where it's eventually going to lead to Asuka.
It's Io Sky and
Stephanie Becerra for the title at WrestlePalooza.
So that's the title match.
That's the title match. I do think that Io's still going to win that match. And the reason why is because Stephanie is not even on TV. When's the last time you've even seen her on TV?
She hasn't been on.
She is not on TV. You cannot put a title on someone that the fans or anyone hasn't seen in 3-4 weeks almost. You can't do it. So I do think what's going to happen is Asuka, Kairi's going to be involved in that match. They're going to try to do shenanigans. We're going to cost Io the match, but I think somehow Io ends up still winning with them costing that match. And that's going to ultimately, it's got to lead to like an Asuka and Io feud for the title match soon. But that's where I think that kind of plays out to. And then we had probably the biggest part of the show where we skipped over on Friday, which was the return of AJ Lee.
Yeah, this was incredible because from last week, Becky Lynch was still like bullying CM Punk. And obviously CM Punk is not going to hit a woman.
Right.
Becky Lynch came out on Friday, said the same thing that, because of you, I can't have my moments, this and that, started slapping them up and stuff. And then CM Punk backed out of the ring, said that he doesn't want to ever put his hands on a woman, but he knew somebody that would.
Yeah.
And all you hear in the background is light it up.
Yeah.
And she comes out. AJ Lee finally returns.
Probably the biggest reaction for a woman's return ever.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yep.
Because AJ Lee, it's weird for me. AJ Lee was never really like, she was always viewed as a wrestler that was kind of like stuck in a time where it wasn't valued. Because it was during the Divas era.
Yeah.
And she kind of came a little too early for her period where she missed out on the Four Horsewomen era. She would have fit perfectly into that era.
She was still young too.
She was still young. She was 28 when she stopped.
Yeah.
So it's crazy now that she's going to transition into that role where she can finally be around these great women's wrestlers. And the first person you got to put her towards is the man Becky Lynch, because she is the one that still carries that mantle in the women's division. It's what everyone thought was going to happen. We're going to have a mixed tag match at WrestlePalooza, which is also another big main attraction in AJ Lee's first match in almost 10 years. That is what's going to literally happen for WrestlePalooza. I think that has to be I know we're not doing predictions right now. That's got to be a must-win for CM Punk and AJ Lee.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Because it's the first match back. It's the first time them probably even doing a mixed tag match together. For me, that's got to be the way to go. Next, we had a quick match with Penta and Rusev. It was a hard-hitting match. Penta and Rusev. It's crazy because Penta had so much momentum, kind of died out.
And New Day ended up getting involved in the match.
New Day got involved in the match. New Day is going to keep doing what New Day does, trying to make some kind of remnants to stay relevant. It sucks because I hate the New Day had so much potential after they did the Big E stuff and kicked them out. They had so much oh my God, these guys are going to be the top heels in the WWE. Remember the reaction that they did to Big E, and people were just so distraught. But WWE didn't capitalize on that, in my opinion. And who knows, maybe Big E's still prepping to come back. And people always going to have that high hopes where it's something in the Rumble, he's going to probably return or something like that. I think ultimately they got to have that one day, that triple main event. And not main event, but triple threat match
They
at
could have it
WrestleMania.
one day.
One day, I feel like you have to do it because come on, like you guys gave legacy that match. Like it was DiBiase, Cody Rhodes, different Cody Rhodes at that time, and Ted DiBiase Jr., Randy Orton. Like that time, that was fine. This is different.
This is longer.
This is longer. This is a team that has been together way longer than anybody ever thought. I know WWE kind of like throws in their head that the New Day is one of the greatest tag teams of all time. They're up there. They're top 5 for me for sure because I've seen them forever. And with them putting them together where all 3 of them had no path, it's just another appreciation for how great they are and they will be. But I think that's what the New Day storyline needs is just they need to somehow implement Big E back where it's going to bring them to relevance again and to the top of that division again. But for now, they're just continuing to try to stay relevant, in my opinion. And lastly, we had the main event.
Yeah, it was another tag team match. I think it's been tag team main events for like the last several weeks.
No, it was LA Knight versus Bronson Reed. It's just a variation of all these 4 guys.
Yeah.
It's just getting boring.
It's just they need to be more creative with this stuff. But it was what you expect the match to be. Braun Breaker came out and interrupted, which ultimately led Big Brother Jimmy to come out and help LA Knight. He came out with a steel chair, and they ultimately fended off Braun and Bronson Reed. But the ending of the show led to Jey Uso, who we thought left the arena, came out and he speared LA Knight, which ultimately stirred up some controversy.
Exactly, but his whole thing was like, I'm always gonna be there for my boy Jimmy.
Yeah,
like my brother Jimmy, I'm always gonna save him. But that don't mean it's open house for LA Knight.
That's true.
Took him out. It's kind of like people are gonna be thinking, I'm like, oh, does this mean Jey Uso is gonna have a little bit of like side where he's obviously not gonna go heel. No. With that entrance, with that merch, with everything he does, he's not going heel anytime soon. But it just gives a little bit more edge to the character, which he desperately needed.
100% needed.
That's not a bad idea by WWE by implementing that he has Roman's like trance on him, where it's like, all right, at the end of the day, Roman still kind of cares about himself. It's obvious that he does. He never really had a full character change, and I think it's gonna be laying off on Jey Uso, where it's like, okay, transitioning to where I only care about is myself and my family. Yeah. If you're in the way, I don't care about you, which is gonna probably be good for him. It's going to give him a little bit edge and where we think it can do well. And overall, that's our wrestling recap for this week. And we're going to basically continue on our path to WrestlePalooza.
We'll give our predictions for the matches next week because I believe it's not this Saturday, the following
Saturday. So stay tuned for that. That's our wrestling recap for this week. All right, guys. Now it's time for our sideline heel take for this week. It's our episode 10. So I feel like we have some juicy sideline heel take to talk about this week. So I'll let Farden start off first because his is more coming off our wrestling oriented.
Yeah, so we obviously just talked about SmackDown and Raw. Now, my big thing about WWE as a fan is I always want to see good content.
Yeah.
Most people want to see good content. They want to see juicy storylines. They want to see the big names show up. But the one problem that I've been having with the WWE is letting their big names take off for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not going to say no names, but just to say face, so to speak. Like for example, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes.
I love how you say you're not gonna say names and you just started.
I'm just saying. The only reason why I'm saying these names is because they're the moneymakers.
Of course.
And they're the ones that drive the industry. They're the ones that
bring eyes.
Fans. Yeah. It brings, I guess, joy and interest into the sport.
For sure.
You know? So like obviously you have Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, John Cena's just going off, and we don't necessarily know what's going to be the future of the company. Obviously, people say Braun Breaker, people say Carmelo Hayes, Austin Theory, perhaps. We don't know yet. But because of these big names, they haven't been around like consistently on a week-to-week basis, and it seems like forever. Obviously, like I'm always going to be about like doing other things, whether that's filming movies, filming TV shows, going off into other business endeavors, doing shows, talk shows, you know, and make yourself known, you know.
And I'll tell you one thing, like the great thing is now they have the capability to do that. Remember back then,
they didn't really
Vince did not let his talent do anything until they got his approval. Triple H is more lenient where he will let you do these other projects and do these other things like streaming and doing whatever they want to do, which is like you said, it's like a detriment where it's like, oh, we know we're going to see them a lot less, but also it brings you feel like if you see them a lot less, you got to develop stuff where you can't wait to see them back.
Exactly. So like, for example, we don't know, obviously Cody Rhodes is the undisputed WWE champion.
Yeah.
And while there was some speculation that he might fight Drew McIntyre at WrestlePalooza, I don't think that's going to happen. It appears that Drew McIntyre is going to fight Randy Orton. That ultimately makes to believe that it's either going to be in Perth or Survivor Series because Cody Rhodes is still out filming the Street Fighter movie,
Right.
so we don't know when he's going to be back.
Right.
It's just when you don't have the top guys there, it doesn't necessarily bring the satisfaction. Like obviously the main event scene in Raw, it's just generally been those four guys.
Yeah.
But I must say, I know you mentioned this in your one of your previous Sideline Heels take. Seth Rollins, I'll give him credit because while he doesn't necessarily have the full character development in the sense that it's just been broken up into so many pieces.
Right.
He's been around for however long. Obviously, he's been injured a few times at the end of the day, but he's definitely what he's, I guess, called himself to be, which is that workhorse.
And the thing is, like, I'll give you that. Seth Rollins, he's never going to be that level of a face or that level of a heel where people...
He's a big name, and he's a champion, and rightfully so, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, WWE's hurting themselves by not having these players around. I feel like, I'm not saying they should do it on a week. Obviously, they need their rest. They need their breaks and stuff like that. We haven't seen Gunther on TV in a while.
Yeah, he's out. He got a surgery. He's probably
it's
relaxing.
good for him, too. Like, you know, if they need that time off, let them be there. But at least make the product better when they ultimately return.
Right.
And I'm sure that once Cody Rhodes returns and then once Roman Reigns returns, we don't know what they're going to set up for Survivor Series.
Exactly.
We'll know later on. But
it sucks because when you come off shows like WrestleMania and SummerSlam, it gets stagnant.
Yeah, it just gets really like, it goes, it's like a roller coaster. It goes really up and then comes back down and then eventually comes back up when it gets to like SummerSlam time. But that's basically my Sideline Heel take. Like WWE needs to do better. They need to create better storylines. Obviously, if they can't have their big names around, they should just utilize what they got and make things a little bit more interesting. I'm tired of seeing the same thing every week.
Yeah.
The product isn't there, and you know, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm gonna turn it over to Fayaz. I know he has his take.
Yeah. All right. So for my Sideline Heel take this week, I'm gonna talk about what is gonna be a big thing going forward in the end of this month and also in the beginning of the year is athletes and talking to the media. Obviously, before even like the NBA season starts, we have pre-media talks. Before the NFL season starts, media days. We have this is a big thing when you play professional sports. You got to be able to talk to the media. I'm going to go on the other route where I feel like athletes shouldn't be obligated to talking to and engaging with the media.
I totally agree with you.
And I'm only saying that because, one, I'm someone that also does love, for example, if I was a professional athlete, I would have no problem talking to the media. But you definitely know that there's athletes that don't even care for it.
I feel like it shouldn't be mandated. And I also feel like it should be a right to decline yourself, you know?
And also, I hate the fact that if you want to decline to talk to someone, you get in trouble.
Yeah, you shouldn't get out.
So,
like fucking Marshawn Lynch.
This is what I'm going to talk about. So first, I want to talk about the number one thing. I want to talk about mental health and well-being. Obviously, I know a lot of people will be like, oh, they're athletes. What do they have to be worried about? They have so much things that they have to worry about by keeping their body straight, by keeping distractions out their life, whether it's even personal or business related.
Especially who they are, they have a target on their back already.
Always. So I think media obligations can be stressful. They can be invasive and harmful to their mental health. So in my opinion, I've definitely seen that with a lot of athletes, especially in the NBA where they talk about mental health. People like Kevin Love is a big advocate of that. It's interesting because I'm a lot of people call it soft, but I don't really think it's soft anymore because you can see that mental health does play a factor when you come to playing and being in front of millions of people every week.
Like AJ Lee said, therapy.
There you go. And WWE is another prime example where they kind of talked about it this week. Another thing is forcing athletes to face hostile questions from right after competition can worsen their anxiety or depression.
Oh yeah, because especially when you come off a loss and you just get
they're competitors.
Yeah,
they're competitors. They want to always win. They always want to feel like that they're putting their best effort first and trying to win their games.
Yeah, you can't be perfect.
Exactly. And when you have, these are guys that obviously are doing their job, journalists. They want to get a ride. They want to get an answer out of them, which also leads to the players trying to hold their composure and make a conscious and reparable response. Second is, in my opinion, performance is first for the athletes. Athletes' primary job is to be and to be out there and perform on the field, court, arena, whatever the sport is. Media obligations can interfere with that, with the recovery, preparation, and focus. For example, I'll give you one prime example, Tom Brady. Tom Brady was always known as that player where media always knew we can go talk to him after the games because he's a quarterback. he's forced to be the face of the team, where it's like, okay, if we can't talk to, for example, let's say Randy Moss. People at that time during the Patriots team, did they really want to talk to Randy? Randy did not have no interest in talking to them. Randy would just be like, all right, like, go talk to Tom Brady over there. No problem. He'll answer all your questions. Tom Brady, he was forced and molded into that position where he was made into talking to people. If you really think about it, Tom Brady wasn't really he was a very intro person until he got older, and he was forced to change. Maybe in a weird way, you could say like, oh, media did a great job by forcing him to not be introverted anymore, but it took away from, and the thing is, you can't say it because Tom Brady's a very like exclusive person where his preparation, his focus, and all that stuff kind of didn't play a factor. But here's a prime example: Ocho Cinco. Ocho Cinco was someone that was targeted by the media. Terrell Owens was targeted by the media.
It's always the fiery personnel on the
exactly, and it messes up. And it messes up with their money. It messes up with their preparation, and it messes up on their focus, and they can't perform on the field, court, no matter what sport they're playing. I think these things definitely play a factor. Number 3 is the freedom of choice. Speaking to the media should be a personal decision, in my opinion, not a contractual mandate. I believe in certain sports and certain NBA contracts or NFL contracts or MLB contracts, you have to talk to people if they're requesting to talk to you.
Yeah.
And if you don't talk to them, either you get in trouble or you got to make up a lie. And you don't really want, like, what's the point of making up a lie if you just really don't want to talk to someone?
Especially in sports like baseball, basketball, hockey.
Yeah.
It's like on a nightly basis that they got to do this.
Exactly.
Like, why you got to keep answering the same questions
exactly,
every
like,
single day?
And it gets annoying because, like, especially in the, like, for example, let's talk about the NBA real quick. The two sports media teams, the two sports media outlets, New York and LA. Those guys are relentless media people. They will constantly ask the same exact question the week after week, day after day, and when it comes to the NBA. And you know for a fact it gets on the players' nerves where they're just like, how many times I got to keep answering these questions? And it's messing up with, like they're getting angry and their recoverment towards the end of the games. Just because someone excels at a sport doesn't mean they have to be open to public commentary. I know it's weird because, like, part of the game and part of the fun is criticizing fans and players. The media's job is to allow us to make that vendetta or have that narrative against them.
I feel like the media's job should be to understand what happened that game.
Right, like to relay information to the fans.
Yeah.
But to be honest, also, me personally, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other fans, they do like a little drama into the sports. And that's what they do best. And that's why the media is paid. And that's why the media exists. Yeah. They're there to do their job, but also make it feel like there's something else going on in the scenes. As an athlete, that is stuff you got to deal with. But let's always talk now. Let's get into the point, my last point, which is the media isn't always fair, in my opinion. The media can definitely twist words, create controversy, and misrepresent their athletes. And sometimes it sucks as an athlete because I know sometimes you want to go out there and just speak and just say whatever you want to say on your chest, but you have sponsorships, you have athletes, agents, you have a whole other team to think about before you even want to go off the rails and say whatever you really want to say. And that's why they implement stuff like fines to make sure that they don't do that stuff. And that's why it kind of like holds them to like where like they have the obligation to participate but they can't expose the athletes to unfair scrutiny and damage reputations. And we've seen that a lot no matter what the sport is, whatever athlete is playing. These players can say whatever they want and ultimately it damages the reputation if they start going off the wheels and not, or a lot of these athletes say now like, hey, like when they're offline and not doing media in front of other people, they're like, oh, I'm media trained. You hear that term a lot. When they say that, this person's media trained, that means like they already are like system engaged to like not say anything that's going to detriment their money, their health, or their personal image.
That's how you see most big names do it because we know what they expect to say.
Exactly, and the thing is like the people that already does like whatever they can say whatever they want. They already accomplished enough where the media won't say anything and they won't damage them. But as a young gun, as a young player, like imagine, for example, J.J. McCarthy. If he came out in that press conference and be like, yeah, you guys were saying I sucked all half. I was watching the tweets. What happened now? Yeah. Ultimately, that media is going to grab that and turn him into something that he probably really isn't. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know for a fact, I 100% know J.J. McCarthy was thinking that in the half. And after the game was over, like, oh, they thought I sucked, didn't they? Look at him. He came out and he played way better.
And he won the game.
Yeah. That's a prime example, in my opinion, that could have something happened but didn't happen because obviously J.J. McCarthy is media trained and he's put through these trials and tribulations where he doesn't want to follow athletes that did do that stuff.
Right, exactly.
So, but here's my last point I want to say to everybody is athletes are paid to perform, but not to be public speakers. Forcing media obligations undermines their well-being and ignores their humanity as a player. True respect for athletes means giving them the freedom to choose whether, when, and how they should share their voice. And being an athlete, and this was a big thing when it was about LeBron James and that shut up and dribble stuff. Being an athlete has a lot of things that can attribute to where you can pretty much affect an entire culture, an entire youth, where athletes are kind of respected.
At the end of the day, you're also role models.
And you're role models. So that's why it plays a lot where the media can make you and break you. And this is a prime example where if you're an athlete, you're subject to that no matter what.
Yep.
It kind of sucks, but hopefully going forward, I think that owners, as team owners, and basically the media in general can understand that sometimes it's okay to not talk to the media and go on about your day and go on about your routine. Maybe it might even lead to players playing better. You never know. But I do think going forward in sports, they should implement where there should be a limit and how many times you should be able to talk to media personnel on your contract. Like, let's say, like, for example, if the NBA season is 82 games, including playoffs too, like that's even more games. I would say, like, okay, maybe you're like, instead of not having to talk to them every night, maybe every other, like half of it, like half of your season. Like, oh, I got only talk to them 40 times a year to get solidify my contract. I think stuff like that can work and will help the media and also help the players' health in general. But all right, guys, that was our sideline heel take for this week and also our recap for sports and wrestling this week. As always, thank you for joining us for episode number 10. We're going to be talking about episode number 11 next week. We're going to be breaking into that double-digit episodes. So thank you guys for staying tuned. And as always, join us for next week, and we'll continue to talk about our recaps as always. See you guys next week. Peace.